Spoon River Anthology essentially presents us with 244 epitaphs that tell the story of someone now in the Spoon River Cemetery, tell the true story, the story not known hitherto.
Mr. Kessler, you know, was in the Army, and he drew $6 a month as a pension and stood on the corner talking politics or sat at home reading Grant's memoirs. And I supported the family by washing, learning the secrets of all the people from their curtains, counterpanes, shirts, and skirts. For things that are new grow old at length. They're replaced with better or none at all. People are prospering or falling back, and rents and patches widen with time. No thread or needle can paste decay. And there are stains that baffle soap, and there are colors that run in spite of you, blamed though you are for spoiling a dress. Handkerchiefs, napery have their secrets. The laundress life knows all about it. And I, who went to all the funerals held in Spoon River, swear I never saw a dead face without thinking it looked like something washed and ironed.
So why don't we look together at this lovely, I think very lovely epitaph actually, Mrs. Kessler's.
Yeah.
Mrs. Kessler has a kind of knowledge that she's taken to her grave.
Yes.
And now she's sharing. I'm wondering about the institution of, in this case, a laundress, but one might think about the dry cleaner or the electrician in a town. There's a certain kind of knowledge that Mrs. Kessler has, and also, of course, Mrs. Kessler has a certain kind of marriage that we might want to talk about as well. Which struck you first, Deb, when you decided to read Mrs. Kessler? Was it her integration into her town, or her lousy husband?
Oh, no, I didn't care about Mr. Kessler.
Well,
no offense.
I liked her. I liked her for the everydayness of what she did in that town. That she was a simple, modest person, and she was a very observant person. She didn't have a very interesting job, but she kind of made the most of what she did by, I suppose, just observing keenly the people in her town. Maybe she was really small-minded. We don't really know about that, but she did keep her secrets.
Yes, I was really struck by the poetry, or the narrative anyway, that she sees in every unwashed garment, right? And that the clothes that pass under her hands all tell a story of the lives that are being lived.
The ups and downs,
the ups,
things she can repair, the things she can't.
Yes, the things we can, learning all the secrets of the people from their curtains, counterpanes, shirts and skirts. These are, she's inside their houses, right? She's not quite a busybody, but as part of an overall theme of a small town is a place where everybody knows everybody's business. Mrs. Kessler is
right in
there.
And one thing I like that's probably more symbolic than anything else is that she took all the dirty things and made them clean. And I really like that idea about her role in the town.
Yes.
That is honest work.
And that's partly why we think of that Mrs. Kessler reads as a sort of sturdy and untroubled soul.
Yes.
Right? That somebody's got, everybody's got their dirt. Everybody's got their, actually,
dirt.
Really dirty linen.
Right.
Yes. Everybody's got it, but that there's a social function for someone else to help them clean it up and to keep quiet about it.
I love the old words that she used. I wasn't sure about rent. I knew rent, it had to mean tear, but when was the last time you heard rent?
As a noun, yeah.
In that way. And counterpanes and napery.
Napery, I love napery.
Napery says napkins there.
Yes. And this is a big reminder that this was 100 years ago. Who sends their napery? Who uses napery and who sends them out? Yes, they're at least iron-proof, washable, if not disposable.
Yes,
these
and there's
days.
a sort of class. There's a hint
Yes.
of entertaining.
Very
Yeah.
much. Yes.
And
Yeah.
she, I think, maybe is honoring that, the entertaining, the festive gatherings of the people in her town, and is participating in them to the extent of cleaning them for the next time. We haven't said anything about Mr. Kessler,
Yes.
and I do think he's part of the story. That Mrs. Kessler is called Mrs. Kessler, and do you think she called her? I think she's calling herself Mrs. Kessler. That would be my.
And she called him Mr. Kessler. She didn't say, I can't remember his first name, but she calls him Mr. Kessler. No, I think we can't say ne'er-do-well, but retired, has a pension, hangs around on street corners talking politics, is at home reading while she's the laundress.
Representing
Mr. Kessler?
the male voice on the panel. I like the charming touch of his reading Grant's memoirs. Both,
do too.
sort of suggesting that whole era after the war, where
true.
people, their lives were shaped by those 4 years, and as Oliver Wendell Holmes and William James and others wrote,
Absolutely.
something that really mattered. And so this was one.
Reliving this again
Yeah.
and again, and that was his moment,
Yeah.
right? Nothing ever has had the sharpness or the definition
Yep.
that the war did, and so essentially he lives off his war memories.
And I'm sure his narrative of this little touch he was having of his reading Grant's memoirs would be much more dignified. He was part of saving the Union, and he was there risking his life. Many people were
But
killed,
she's
etc.
according him some dignity too.
Yes, that's
and
true.
Just as she accords dignity to those whose
That's
napery
true.
and
Yeah.
underwear she launders.
Right.
She's Mrs. Kessler. She's calling him Mr. Kessler, and
He's not
Okay,
reading
I've been-
dime novels, or he's not having a beer. He's reading Grant's memoirs.
I've been too rough on him, maybe. Yeah. Sorry.
he's not working and she is. And the class structure of the family, they're all different ways in which class is revealed in Spoon River Anthology, and that families often are stratified.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're getting as well.